What up, everybody? It's Aaron here with Robert, and this is Get Your Geek On's Talking Geek.
And this week, we got a lot to talk about. We got some HBO Max teaser trailers. We've got a lot of news from the MCU. And we saw some new images from Batwoman Season 3 that we want to talk about. Right?
Yeah. How much we want to talk about that one? Yeah.
Hey, you're the one who brought it in. So.
I did.
So yeah, a lot going on here this week for Talking Geek.
Yeah. So let's start with HBO Max. A lot came out. So I want to talk about the one I know the most on first, please. Peacemaker.
Yeah, we saw a little teaser, which was really just kind of like a snippet from a scene.
Yeah, that's all it was.
Of Peacemaker basically showing up at a restaurant in full costume, outfit, uniform.
It's his uniform.
Sure. And he also has Eagly the Eagle in his vehicle, his pet. And he gets made fun of for a lot of things, including that his eagle's name is Eagly.
That was so stupid.
As well as his bright colors on his uniform.
Oh,
yeah. So, I mean, this is kind of, the same type of humor that was in the Suicide Squad with James Gunn. We get, John Cena's Peacemaker returning, who wasn't necessarily my favorite character or the one I would have said, I want a series about that. Yeah. But I think this could be entertaining. I think it could be fun. I think John Cena is a pretty good actor.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, this teaser, I mean, I was already going to watch the series, at least give it a try.
Yeah.
But yeah, after watching it, I went, okay, I'm on
board. It doubled down on the character, like exactly what they are. We got the same two characters from the end of Suicide Squad who went to go check on him, and there's like, oh, Amanda Waller's punishing us.
Right.
And it's so funny. We get them commenting on that again. It's like, oh, we really are getting punished. Like, oh, crap.
She stuck us with this idiot.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see where it could go. I mean, he seems to not have changed, even though he got shot in the heart or the head or whatever, the chest. So he still seems to be the same crazy Peacemaker.
Yep.
I am curious if we're going to get what's his face? Not Deadshot, but Bloodsport, yeah. If we're gonna get him in this at all, because he did try to kill Ratcatcher.
I think if we do, it'll be like a final beat of something, like if they're gonna set up more. I don't think he's gonna play a role in this particular. Like, I think Peacemaker, I think he's the guy that says, whether or not he is actually this way, but I think he believes he's this way, is that it was a mission, it wasn't personal, and he's not going to take it personally from Bloodsport either. He's going to say that, we just had different objectives during the mission.
Even at that, though, it wasn't, Bloodsport had no objective. He didn't know at that point. Oh, no, he did, because Ratcatcher said he killed him, that he killed Rick Flag. He still killed a best friend, or his friend.
Who? Oh, yeah, I mean...
So Bloodsport's going to have...
Bloodsport could want to come after Peacemaker.
Yeah.
But I think this is a story about Peacemaker. And, Bloodsport, presumably, at the end of that movie, he's not back in prison. They get to go free, I think.
Yeah, they go free because
they blackmail Amanda Waller, basically, to go free.
So they're not even on the run because Amanda Waller doesn't want to kill them because somebody could leak the information.
Yeah, so, who knows where he's at, but I have a feeling, I don't think we're really going to get any other characters from the movie. That's just, my feeling.
Yeah, I could see that, but I can have hope. Sure. High apple pie in the sky, hope.
Please don't sing on the podcast anymore.
Oh, come on.
I like the people that listen to us, and so I'm just, I don't want to make their ears bleed or anything. So
I haven't gotten to that part yet. Okay. They can go listen to my rants on Venom. That might help a little bit.
No, it won't. So anything more you want to say on the Peacemaker?
Not on Peacemaker. Okay. I think Peacemaker was, like you said, it was a little minute thing.
Yeah, so. And the same for the other one. The other series that we know we're getting, The House of the Dragon. Is the prequel, set a couple hundred years before the events of, Game of Thrones. And, it's centering around basically the Targaryen Civil War. which, is kind of when they lost the throne, if you will. I don't know if this is going to be the way it's been described makes it sound like it's almost like a mini series. So I don't know if they're planning on telling multiple seasons of it. I have no idea. But this teaser, it's mostly, we don't see any big like action beats, but there's definitely some cool imagery. The Iron Throne looks very different than it did in Game of Thrones. So that was interesting to see what that looked like. We get some beautiful shots. Clearly they have not skimped on the budget once again. And yeah, as a big Game of Thrones fan, and yes, the final seasons weren't as good as the earlier seasons, but it's really hard, obviously, to, ending a story is always harder, especially when, we didn't have the ending from the books with George R.R. Martin. They kind of had to make their own. And so, yeah, not to give them an excuse, but, the longer a show goes on, the harder it is to stick the landing. There's not a whole lot of shows that you can just say are consistently great from beginning to end.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, this one, it peaked in the early seasons. Seasons 2 and 3 are probably among the best, as well as, really the first 4 seasons are all really, really solid.
I agree.
But, it falls off at the end. But I think it also is still really good television. It just it wasn't at the bar of the earlier seasons, and so it made it seem like it wasn't as good. But it still was really good. And so more in this world, more, and honestly, there are some characters that could return, because there are a couple of characters that are super long-lived. So we could see somebody like Melisandre, the red, the red lady, could return. We could see a different version of the three-eyed raven. Different things like that. So there's
get the faceless people.
We could get the faceless men, absolutely. So yeah, there's definitely some possibility of returning to some of these characters, but I think we'll get a lot of names that we're familiar with. We'll get Baratheons and Starks and Lannisters and Greyjoys and House Martell and of course the Targaryens. I think we'll get all of these characters who we may not know the specifics, but we'll know, these are the people that, are heads of these houses.
Yeah. I think it'd be interesting. Again, I don't like prequels too much, but we're so far back. All these characters could die, and you don't know how, that's could be how it ends.
Unless they're you're the last heir of House Lannister, and then we know he can't die.
Yeah, something like that. That would make sense. But I don't think you'd set yourself up for
No, I don't
like
think
that.
they would either.
But you know what? No matter what, at least they can complete a story, because he still hasn't finished the books. So
yes, and this is based on another book that he wrote about the Targaryen Civil War, and that's why people have speculated that it's a miniseries, because that's just kind of one book.
Yeah.
As well as George R.R. Martin is involved in this. He is kind of co-created and wrote. At least was a contributing writer on the series, an executive producer. So people are at least expecting some level of involvement from him.
That'd be good. I'm excited.
So moving on to all of the MCU news. So we've got MCU Guardians news, we've got What If news, we've got WandaVision spin-off news. Where do you want to start?
WandaVision.
It was Agatha all along. I'm allowed to sing, not you.
Oh.
Yeah.
I still can't sing either.
Hey. Harsh. Actually, I'm a very good singer. Thank you very much.
We'll go out to karaoke one night and figure
That's
out what happens.
fine. I've done karaoke.
Same, and the people didn't run out of the room.
Well, that's just because they liked you for some reason. Let's talk about WandaVision. So the report is that Kathryn Hahn, who played Agatha Harkness, is supposedly getting a spin-off series on Disney+.
So more Agatha?
It seems like more Agatha. And where we left her in that series was basically trapped in the Agnes character's mindset in Westview, which, we talked about it at the time, was a very villainous move by Wanda to literally take away her memory of who she was and her free will. So not cool, Wanda.
No.
I'm still not okay with that. Even though she's the villain, like that, you went too far on this one. Like you need to find some sort of magical means of putting her in prison. But
or killing her, because that's the
eradicating her mind, which is basically what you're doing. I mean, that's not okay.
All the other heroes kill their villains.
Not all of them.
Who hasn't? Cap killed Red Skull.
No, Red Skull grabbed the Tesseract. That was not Cap.
Look, Cap was involved. Cap should have stopped him.
Sure. I mean, Cap has killed in the MCU. Let's be honest. I'm not saying he didn't, but I'm saying he didn't kill.
I'm sure he throws that
Skull.
shield. They're not waking up after that.
No, Cap. Yeah, Cap doesn't shy away from killing. That's not what I was saying.
I know. I'm just messing with you.
No, I mean in the movies. I mean, Ant-Man doesn't kill his villains.
Wasp died. He killed him.
Are you talking about Yellow Jacket?
Or Yellow Jacket? Yeah, he killed Yellow Jacket.
Yellow Jacket disappeared into a dimension.
He to never come back from again.
Not yet.
You got me there. Okay, so Ant-Man doesn't kill.
We haven't seen Ant-Man kill.
I'll give you that. Scott Lang, you're the real hero. You haven't killed anybody.
Right.
Well, unless he stepped on somebody by accident.
He did step on a lot of people in the Endgame battle. But those were all evil, like, alien creatures. They don't count. That's like... I mean, the MCU... The MCU, it kills off a lot of its villains, let's be honest. Spider-Man doesn't kill. There you go. Except when he's in instant kill mode.
Which was made by Tony Stark.
Correct.
I'll give him that.
But again, I don't think Wanda should have killed her. I think she should have subdued her and,
sent her to S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, some kind of, way to put her in prison or whatever. But I am still not okay with the mind prison that she put her in. I think, taking away someone's memories and free will is not okay. But I will say... I'm assuming this will pick off from that point and we'll move forward. We might get some flashbacks to other things she might have been up to in the 300 plus years she's been alive.
Yeah.
But I liked Catherine Hahn as this character. I think she was having a lot of fun in the WandaVision episodes, moving through the decades. It'll be really interesting to see her in more of like she's just a full-on witch. I don't know what kind of show they're gonna make. Like, are they gonna try and make another sitcom-y type show?
What I'm wondering is if, and I know you're gonna get mad, if we're gonna get Mephisto or someone else, because remember they did say like the bunny was supposed to be something, but due to COVID, everything they cut that part out.
Yep.
If they're going to revisit, because the bunny is still out there. Like, no one messed with this bunny.
Right.
We got hinted that it was something because it ate that cicada or whatever.
Yeah, the bunny is probably going to be how she escapes.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, who will we make the bunny? Are they going to make it a Mephisto? Or are they going to make it just some underling demon that's like, hey, what do you mean you don't know who you are? What do you mean? And it fixes the spell. Because the only reason I lean towards Mephisto is he's probably more powerful than Wanda's magic, at least that spell. Reverse it.
I just don't know why Mephisto would be hiding as a bunny. Like
because
that.
He doesn't want people to know where he's at.
I mean,
come on, he's
fine. I don't think the bunny is Mephisto, but I think Mephisto could absolutely show up in the series.
This is where I think he would show up.
I think that could make sense. I'm really interested. I mean, I don't think they're gonna do it, but I really did not like that Evan Peters was just a random dude named Ralph Boner.
I hated that.
And so, like, if they were to redeem that in some way, I would totally be okay with that. I don't think they will.
No.
Like, if they were to say, oh, actually, he is the Quicksilver from this other universe, and, Agatha just messed with his mind or whatever, like, I would be like, yes, I want that.
Yeah.
I don't think they will.
No.
But I really, like... I know that they were going for like the wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Isn't this fun letting us play with this? But it really felt like a total betrayal of being like a fan. It was like, you can't give us that and then say, haha, it was all a dick joke.
Yeah.
Which is
literally what it ran into at the end of it.
I was not okay with that.
I hope they do redeem that. I would like to see, or maybe she does now that the MCU is merging and everything's happening, maybe she does do some magic to make him the real Quicksilver. Who knows? I'm interested in that. And the other thing, of course, though, Guardians of the Galaxy, we're getting a 2.5 film.
Yeah, I mean the holiday special. They announced this a while ago. It's coming out
next month.
No, 2022.
Oh, that's
December.
2022.
So we have like a full year plus. They're actually going to film it at the same time they film Guardians 3. Yeah. And then they'll just edit this one first, I guess.
Yeah.
And they have said basically that this is going to be James Gunn has said this is required viewing for Guardians 3. So they're telling, yes, it's going to be a holiday special, which certainly if you're a Star Wars fan, that means something. The Star Wars holiday special famously is terrible, but also introduced Boba Fett. That was the first thing he appeared in, was the Star Wars holiday special before he debuted in Empire Strikes Back. And so the reason this is coming up now is because James Gunn was asked on Twitter, basically because of Boba Fett. Somebody said, hey, is the holiday special that the Guardians do, is that going to introduce any major characters? And he said, yep, it sure is.
Introduce one at least, they said, right?
Yeah, and one that he says, in his opinion, is one of the greatest characters in Marvel. Now, because it's James Gunn and he's saying it's his opinion, he could be like, this is one of my favorite characters, and it's this minor character no one has ever heard of.
But it's just someone he likes.
Or it could be Nova, or it could be Adam Warlock, or
Taserface is back.
No, because number one, you can't introduce a character who's already been in a movie. And number two, it's still a terrible joke, and you're just saying it just to make me annoyed, and I don't know why.
Just a little bit. I love it though.
Hey, guess what? Aaron's favorite movie is Venom.
Yeah, that'll bother me.
Starship Troopers sucks.
Okay, now you crossed the line.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who do you think it's going to be? Like, on your opinion, though, seriously.
I mean, they've already teased Adam Warlock.
Right.
And we also know that a character like Nova is probably on the way.
Right. Because they said they're going to kind of fix what they did to him. Because Nova, that wasn't the Nova Corps in the comics.
I mean, no. It wasn't. But I think more what they've said is that like Richard Rider Nova is coming. Yeah. But I don't actually think it's going to be either one of those. I think it's going to be a character that I'm not familiar with. Yeah. Like, because I don't have the same cosmic Marvel knowledge that you do, or even just general, and like Marvel comics knowledge that you do. I think it's probably going to be a character that has some history with the Guardians, but not one I'm necessarily familiar with.
See, the only one that would make sense, to me at least, would either be one Moondragon, who does have an affiliation with everybody, or two Quasar. Now, depending which Quasar, I think there was a male and a female Quasar. Okay. Those would be the ones I think they can bring out, because I think, I can't remember which one. I think one of them is actually related, and someone's probably gonna you'd be like, no, you're wrong. I think one of them is related to Thanos somehow, or she's. Yeah, Moondragon. She's was found by Thanos' father's mentor, who took her into his homeworld. So, yeah, she has an association with Thanos. So I kind of want to lean towards Moondragon, because, that still kind of keeps us all connected with the Thanos storyline. And it's going to be one of those, could be a little bit of a rivalry, even ooh, we don't like you, or, we got Gamora and Nebula, who are the daughters of Thanos, technically. And now here's Moondragon, a third woman, who it's wait. What? There's more, he has more children out there kind of thing. So I think it could be one of them too. And I love Quasar. She's been one of my favorites always.
And I will say that that James Gunn has denied a couple of characters. Okay. One was Howard the Duck, who
we've seen him a lot.
Right.
Too.
He's already been in both of he was in, I think, the first two Guardians movies.
Yeah, because he's the end credit in the first one.
Well, he's at the Collector's Storm, so and we get him briefly in just a shot while they're at the collector's room, and then we do see him in post-credits, and then he's on the planet, I think, where Yondu and all them are with the robot kind of prostitutes. I think Howard the Duck is there.
And then you got Endgame.
And then we've seen him in What If, and he shows up on the battlefield in Endgame. And he also denied that Longshot would be in the special.
Oh, thank God.
And Longshot is like from one of those from Mojo World. Is that right?
Mojo's World with the X-Men, and basically his power is luck. I think kind of like what's her name, Domino.
Yeah.
From Deadpool. Which I wouldn't pull him in.
Which they made perfectly in Deadpool too.
Yeah.
Like the way they built that character, I thought was perfect. And so just bring me Domino.
Yeah, that's what I say. I don't think they're gonna do him because it's gonna be, how do you market that? Like we already have that character now in this world.
How about Deadpool? What if he introduced Deadpool into the MCU through the Guardians holiday special?
That would be a perfect Deadpool move though. Like,
that'd be so great.
It's just like some guy dressed up as Santa Claus and they're like, oh, that's cool, and then he takes it off the clothes and it's Deadpool underneath. That's like,
that would be great.
Who? I would love that.
Yeah,
I'd be okay with that.
All right. Well, let's talk about our last thing, which is that What If wrapped up. Go check out our review on YouTube at official GYGO.
It was so good.
We talked about the season finale.
Yes.
But the reason that I wanted to talk about it is because with it wrapping up, the creators have been giving some interviews and talking about how season 1 was affected, what they wanted to do in season 2, and what they will do moving forward. So there's a few things that I want to talk about. Number one is that we know that COVID affected this season 1. It was supposed to be 10 episodes, and it got cut down to 9. The lost episode is the one, spoiler alert, if you've seen the finale, the lost episode is the one that kind of focuses on Tony and Gamora. So we'll still get that in season 2.
Yeah.
It's just, it was supposed to be part of this first season, but didn't happen for COVID-related reasons.
Yeah.
And then, we do know that we're getting 9 more episodes in season 2 coming sometime next year. It's supposed to be 2022. It'll probably be around the same time of year.
Yeah.
But the big thing that I really want to talk about, which just broke my heart, but also was like, of course they were going to, is that they had plans for a spin-off series focusing on Star-Lord T'Challa, which makes perfect sense because that character, like, he's going on adventures all over the place. He's, he's a super fun and interesting character who has, influence in lots of different ways.
Yeah.
And there's lots of different stories you could tell with that character. And obviously, with the passing of Chadwick Boseman, they basically said, it was, they had talked about it, they had plans for it, but they don't even know if he was aware that they were planning on doing that. It was like, so it was clearly early stage that they were doing this, and at this point they don't know, will they still do that and just have a different actor do the voice, or will they not be able to do that series anymore, which I want to talk to you about both those things. So number one is, how does just getting that news and hearing that was their plan, how does that make you feel? And then number two is, should they still do it moving forward, knowing that Chadwick Boseman's not here?
First, I'm sad. It makes me sad because it's one of those, like, Chad had so much ahead of him with MCU, and it makes me sad. Now, I know he did all this for his family. But, he married his wife right before everything happened, and
I would have watched the hell out of that series, man.
I would too. Oh. I would. I mean, again, I think, we should have ranked him. I don't think we did at the end of it. But I think this was both of ours, like, one of our favorites, if not the favorite for both of us, right?
I think certainly of the standalone ones, the final 2 episodes are really kind of like culmination episodes, and they're about the big bad and all that stuff, especially the last one. But of the, this is about the standalone characters.
I think that was
it was definitely my favorite.
Yeah, and I think it was at mine too. And that set the bar. So I mean, I love the idea of where would this have gone. Again, we just changed one thing, but Thanos wasn't, a murderer. We got peace in the world. Drax had his family still.
Yeah, I mean, we see, basically, they're the Avengers and the Ravagers and whoever else is fighting Ego at the end of this, trying to save Peter Quill from Ego.
Yeah.
And because Ego's not on his home planet where he can draw power, they're going to defeat him on Earth, Whether, like then they're going to have to at some point actually go to Ego and try and defeat him there, which is going to be more difficult because he is like a celestial.
Yeah.
But, certainly like you could tell that story. That would be interesting.
I would be okay with that one.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do a lot with it because a lot still hasn't changed. What about Ronan the Accuser? Is he still running around doing his stuff because he's not working with Thanos anymore?
I mean,
it would be interesting to see where they could go.
Is T'Challa going to be able to talk Killmonger down like he did with Thanos?
Yeah.
Because in this universe, we don't really know what happened with Killmonger. We don't see that explained. So did everything still happen the same way it did before? Was he still, his father was killed and he's abandoned in Oakland and he grows up, like with all that vengeance in his heart?
Yeah.
Or is it something completely different? Like, again, exploring that possibility. Like, there's just so much they could have done. So yeah, I mean, it does make me very sad once again.
Yeah.
That these are things we will never get to see Chadwick Boseman bring to life.
Yeah. And that is sad. Now I hope they do try to decide to go forward though with it.
Okay.
Like, I would like to see them somehow, maybe either, in loving memory of Chadwick Boseman or just, I would not be upset if they get a voice actor to sound like him.
Sure.
It would make me actually happy. And I know a lot of people will go against that kind of stuff, like, oh, you're bashing the person's name or whatever. And I feel like you're paying a great honor to a great man.
Yeah, I mean, certainly if they were going to do a spinoff, I think they would do their best to have the voice sound very similar. I mean, you think of like that happens all the time in animation. A lot of times, I mean, and even in this series, you were bringing in actors to play, these characters who were not the name actors. Now, they did get a lot of name actors for the series. But yeah, I mean, that happens all the time in animation where they'll bring in, someone to voice a character who's been in live action and they want it to sound like the live action character. So I don't think there's any concern there. I will say, I would still watch this series. I would love this series.
Yeah.
Every episode would probably make me feel a little bit sad that it wasn't Chadwick Boseman, but I would still love to have the series. The only thing that makes me think they probably won't do it is Marvel, and especially Kevin Feige, have just been very firm in saying they're not recasting T'Challa. Yeah. Now, I think that's mainly been about live action.
Exactly.
But I still feel like that certainly covers something like animation as well, to say like, no, we're not recasting T'Challa. We're not.
No, we told you.
We don't want anyone but Chadwick Boseman to play this character. And that
Did he have a son?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
But that came up again actually recently, and Kevin Feige gave kind of, I think, probably the strongest wording that he's given up to this point that I've seen is basically, he said, like, Chadwick Boseman is T'Challa and inhabited that character more than anyone ever has or ever could, and was the version that we all love the most, even going back to comics. Like, he was like very like, T'Challa and Chadwick Boseman are one and the same. Yeah. And we don't want to revisit that. Now, I understand that completely because I think he was perfect. I think he was amazing. And I also understand the people that say like T'Challa is an important character. Like, not just Black Panther, but T'Challa. And that we don't want to lose that character from our stories. And so I can understand the people that would say we should move forward. Yes, it's still very sad that we lost Chadwick Boseman, but we still should move forward with T'Challa because he's such an important character. So I understand both ways. I understand both perspectives. I don't think we'll get the spin-off series, but if they gave it to us, I would love every moment of it.
I hope they do. Again, I hope if the only way we're going to do it is through animation, then give it to me. I'll be happy. Again, T'Challa he's a big symbolism for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. There's a bunch of stuff, if people keep up with Renaissance festivals and everything, in that the little girl was a princess of Wakanda, and she came up to the king for the Renaissance festival, and he understood the reference.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was like, that hit hard for me, because I was like, Wow, and this is, I thought it was cool, like, you know, just also shows geek transcends everything. Like, this guy was like, he knew just enough so he could do the, you know, the Wakanda salute and everything.
Yeah.
And
Wakanda forever.
Yeah.
And, you know, yeah.
It was beautiful. And again, T'Challa hits home for a lot of people, and I think he should still be around. I don't know. I love the character. The comics, I go back and forth with them, but I won't lie when I say Chadwick Boseman really made me love the character.
Yeah.
You know, and he did. So, and I mean, no matter what you do, though, you always have big shoes to fill. Christopher Reeves will always be Superman, no matter how many other guys we get.
Absolutely.
You know, he is Superman.
I mean,
but they try.
Yeah, I mean, you know, whether it's, you know, that's something the MCU just knocked out of the park. Whether it's Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, Chris Evans as Captain America, you know, Steve Rogers, it's Chris Hemsworth as Thor. Like they nailed their casting almost, you know, just perfectly with so many of these characters. They nailed it with Terrence Howard. They just then recast him. But yeah, it's one of those things where Chadwick Boseman was a perfect T'Challa, and it's very unfortunate and sad that you know, he passed at such a young age. We as fans are deprived of his talent, and as human beings we're deprived of a man like he was. You know, like nobody's ever said anything bad about him. And actually, I think it's Howard University, which is where he went, actually announced that they established a scholarship in his name as well. So,
that's nice.
Yeah, you know, it's just I don't normally get super affected by celebrity deaths, but like that one hit hard, especially because he was so young, and just it felt like he had so much more to give. And he gave so much. Like, I don't mean that to say like he owed us more or anything like that.
No.
It's just like, you know, he loved doing this. You could tell from his projects and the passion that he gave, and the fact that he came to What If. And
wasn't he like one of the first ones, right?
Yeah, I mean, like signed on to do this and was in several episodes and loved doing it by all accounts, and, you know, wanted to continue, you know, like playing this character because he understood how important it was and because he loved doing it. Like, yeah, it's really sad that we don't get to continue having him. So yeah, when I saw that headline that it was like, you know, that they had like, plans for the T'Challa Star-Lord spin-off series, sad. I was like,
it's like, thanks for making me cry today.
So, all right, let's move on to a happier topic, right?
Yeah. So Batwoman is somehow still going on. This is now, we're going into season 3.
Correct.
We've lost Ruby Rose at the end of the season 1 thing because of bleh. I don't think that ever got released as to why she left.
There's been a few different conflicting stories. Some said it had to do with
the story,
allergies to the costume. Others were that, you know, she just was overwhelmed by the role and didn't want to do it anymore. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons. We don't need to speculate. It's Javicia Leslie now is a different version of Batwoman. She was Batwoman all throughout season 2. Yep. She's, you know, returning in season 3 with some other members of the Bat family.
Yeah, so they are starting to bring some of that together now, it seems like. I won't lie when I say I did not watch season 2. I honestly didn't give this girl a chance, and I need to go back.
I haven't seen a moment of Batwoman at all.
Okay, I feel better. So, the reason I bring it up, you know, you might be asking, well, why are you going to talk about this, Aaron? You know, you didn't see any of it. I do owe this woman a chance. I tried Ruby Rose, and I hated the whole thing with Ruby Rose. But this girl, I will say I should give her a chance. But I want to talk about it because now we're getting the Mad Hatter in this one. Mm-hmm. You know, we have Alice. She's shown up. She was the sister of Ruby Rose's character as Batwoman. And now we're getting the Mad Hatter. And we're also getting another hero joining. Like you said, another Bat member has decided to join the family in Batwing. Mm-hmm. And basically an armored, suited looking Batman kind of thing. I don't know. Like, the reason I brought it up, he does look like the character.
Well, also Poison Ivy.
Oh yeah, Poison Ivy
is coming in season 3 as well.
I mean, we're getting a lot. Like now, it's kind of making me turn my head to be like, "Ooh, wait a minute, who's coming out? Like what?" So I am excited to see where it could go. I don't know if it's out there. I think it's on Netflix now, season 2. I might go watch season 2 to give it a chance to see how they're tying Alice to this Batwoman, because she's obviously going to know it's not Ruby Rose's Batwoman. You know, Ruby Rose, of course, is a white girl. This is a black woman who's playing it. And I haven't heard anyone say anything bad about her. I will say that first. You know, I know with Ruby Rose, like right off the bat, people were bashing her. And I'm curious where we're going to go with all of this. And I brought it up. The costumes, I will say, look good for a TV show. You know, always remember, this is a TV show, everybody. Mm-hmm. So remember, the budget isn't, $100 million like a film.
Right.
I want to know, is there any chance that just some of these pictures we see of Batwoman, Batwing, Alice, Mad Hatter, and Mary and Sophia, who are, I guess, other characters in it, do any of this draw you to the show? Or are you still like, nah?
So this is what I will say, is that the reason I haven't watched this, and I haven't seen anything on the CW, the Arrowverse. Like, I never watched Arrow, I never watched Flash, I never watched, the Legends of Tomorrow, or, I early on, several years ago, when all this stuff was coming out, I had given like a show like Gotham a chance. I know that was on a completely different network.
Yeah.
And I couldn't stick with it. I didn't enjoy it. And like around the same time, Daredevil came out, and Daredevil was awesome. And it kind of got to that point where there was so much coming and so many different shows, and I hadn't watched like Smallville, like going back, I hadn't really, as much as I'm a Batman guy and I love Batman, I really, hadn't been drawn to the DC universe. Especially, the way outside of Batman, the movies I haven't really cared for. I never really was interested in the shows. And so when it came down to it, I kind of went, you know what? I'm going to watch the Marvel stuff. Yeah. I'm not going to watch So I watched, the Marvel Netflix shows. I watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I just didn't have time to watch all this other stuff. Yeah. And now I don't have cable anymore. So I don't watch really anything that's on cable.
Yeah, you have to wait.
And with that being said, I mean, maybe someday I'll watch this show, but probably what I'm really, what's really happening for me now is there are very few shows I watch until they're complete. Yeah. It's like, so maybe, in a couple of years, if there's 5 or 6 seasons and they say, this is our final season, and people have, would recommend it and say like, hey, like maybe the first season is great, but then it gets really good. Or whatever. Yeah, maybe I'll go back and watch it at that point. But no, I'm not going to tune in for season 3. I'm not going to go back and watch the first 2 seasons at this point. Maybe I will down the road, but it's just, it's never really intrigued me or drawn me in. Even when like the first season of Flash was going on and people were like talking about how amazing, it's so good, and I was just like, okay, like, I'm watching Daredevil season 2. Punisher's killing everyone, like leave me alone.
They're all dead, leave me alone. Yeah, I mean, I will say this, the one I loved the most was Arrow up until maybe season 3 or 4, and that's when I kind of started falling off. Legends of Tomorrow, I still love that one because we have, Constantine's leaving technically, but I love Constantine. Batwoman I didn't get into just because, again, I didn't like Ruby Rose. Flash, I liked it for a little while, but it was literally the same villain, it felt like, at the end of every season. So it's like, why am I going to keep watching? Mm-hmm. It's another villain who his power is the Speed Force. Yay. Oh, this guy's faster than the last season's villain. Oh, yay. That's all it was. So I got tired of watching that. But yeah, I think the look might bring me back in right now for this one. I should feel like I need to give this woman a chance to shine as Batwoman herself. So I'm going to probably catch season 2 sometime soon. Maybe go watch it, and then right before season 3 comes out, and then see where it could go. Again, I'm huge, not a Batman fan, but I love his Rogues Gallery. I will always love Batman's Rogues Gallery. And if you break it down to a psychology level, a lot of them follow different psychological issues, back in the day, split personality disorder, but now it's degenerative dissociative disorder, I think now it's called, something like that. Mad Hatter is technically, if you really break it down, a pedophile. Poison Ivy is, I forgot, she's a botanist, so she's something with the environment. I forgot that one. I don't know. Each of them have like their own mental issues,
Yeah.
And I love that that's technically what they all are. And I think there's even a comic that comments about how Batman, it might be like all different psyches of Batman himself, that this is all in his head, that it's really just, none of it's real. He's just crazy. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. Yep. I'm excited. I liked Hatter. He looked like Hatter.
Yeah, and you'll have to tell me, you know, like if season 3 is great, maybe I'll jump on it. It's just it hasn't hooked me for sure.
We'll see what season 2 does for me first.
Well, that's true.
But yeah. So on that note, guys, go check it out. Like, at least go look at pictures. Again, I think that they did really good for the costumes. That's kind of my takeaway from all of this. Go check out the costumes. Batwing looks like Batwing. He looks really cool. But on that note, guys, we're going to end it here. I hope you've enjoyed everything. Go check out all of our videos. We should have some reviews up, some other stuff. Some stuff we didn't talk about, which are going to be in a separate video, of course, is the Resident Evil trailer dropped. I'm going to give my 2 cents on that one. Robert's not the gamer on that one, so I'm going to kind of take the reins on it. And maybe we'll talk some other stuff. And Battlefield 2042, I'll talk about that one a little bit in another video. Short little videos, go check those out on Facebook at officialgygo though. And of course, stay geeky. I'm Aaron, that's Robert, and get your geek on.
Bye.